What's more troublesome than one ninja? Well, 3 ninjas. Luckily they're teenagers though, eh? They won't be doing any assassinations, I can assure you of that. They'll be croaking about how unfair their parents are, they'll be slouching about, and they'll be being loud on the bus in an attempt to impress girls who say, "Oh my god," way too much. So what's all this about then, this 3 ninjas kick back? Well, 3 Ninjas was an American martial arts comedy movie for 90s children that did well enough to get 3 movie sequels. That's pretty well indeed. The original was released by Touchstone, with the subsequent sequels coming via TriStar. What number was the movie stroke game we're talking about today then? Well, in keeping with the title of the franchise, it's 3. You've got 3 Ninjas from 1992, 3 Ninjas Knuckle Up from 1993, 1994 brought us this, 3 Ninjas Kick Back, and then 1998 presented the terrifying sight of Hulk Hogan in a wig. And it gave us 3 Ninjas High Noon on Mega Mountain. The last one, to me, sounds more like a video game, but it didn't get one, and neither did 1 nor 2. Confusingly, Kickback actually came out second out of the 3, with 2 of the 3 kid actors replaced. But it's actually the 3rd of the series, as the first 2 were filmed back to back, but distribution problems delayed the second movie's release by an entire 2 years, meaning that the 2 original characters returned if you saw them in the order they were released. Very strange, and what a mess. The recognisable face of the movie franchise is unquestionably the great Victor Wong, who was probably in at least one of your favourite movies growing up. He's one of those performers that is uncharitably described as a character actor, which to me is the basis of that term, is that he's not classically handsome, as he's old and has different sized eyes. Poor old Victor. 3 Ninjas Kick Back sees the eponymous trio travel to Japan to try and secure an ancient dagger, which is also a key to untold fortune, because MacGuffins were an easy script writing trope for the 90s kids movies, as were comedy pratfalling goons, post Home Alone trap setting horseplay, and cool ass 90s attitude, all of which are present here and are just as tiresome and irritating as you remember them being. You see this trailer here, and how 90s low budget throwaway kids movie it looks? It's exactly how you'd expect it to be. Aside from the movie deciding to end not in a climactic fight in Japan, but a minor league baseball game, a truly bizarre ending to a kung fu movie. Reviews of 3 Ninjas Kick Back were as brutal as a roundhouse to the jaw. A 15% aggregate score on Rotten Tomatoes tells you half the tale of the completed tale coming from its box office takings, which returned just $11,798,000 from a $20 million budget domestically. It wasn't meant to shinobi for 3 Ninjas, at least in the cinema. But what about that? They're the video game of it. Sony ImageSoft put out 3 Ninjas Kick Back in 1995 on the Super Nintendo and the Mega CD, one of their last releases before Sony rolled out the PS1 and never looked back at these sort of low-budget movie license games on the 16-bit formats. The Mega CD version came in a 2-pack with the completely unrelated movie adaptation Hook, strangely enough. That's a bizarre combo. Mega CD even features overlays of Mr. Wong appearing and giving you advice, and look at them in all that horrible, bitty little Sega CD glory. The Megadrive version was actually published by Psygnosis, but all the versions were very similar because they were all developed by one company, that company being Malibu Interactive. Malibu Interactive were an offshoot company of the Malibu Comics line, the 3rd biggest publisher of said material in the 1990s, making comics of properties such as Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter and the Terminator series, in addition to its Ultraverse superhero titles. Malibu Interactive also made games based on Cliffhanger, Smurfs and the Sega versions of Batman Returns, before they eventually folded in 1995. Three Ninjas Kick Back was a side-scrolling platformer, the sort of standard movie license genre choice that we had come to expect in the 16-bit era. You choose which of the irritating teens you want to play as at the beginning, and you'll have to get used to them forevermore as you can't reselect your character after that point. Other than their weapons, there's not much difference despite their height and colours. Rocky has a bow staff like Donatello, Colt has a katana like Leonardo, and pint-sized Tum Tum wields a pair of twin sai like Raphael. Sorry Michelangelo, there's no child version of you. Ninjas and wild beasts stand between your young martial artists and the magical dagger over the course of 5 levels. Each of the 5 levels are broken into different stages, all of which have varying lengths. Some are over in the blink of an eye, while some drag on like a complete Emmerdale box set. There's a surprising twist here. It plays okay for the most part. The controls are generally alright, apart from the slightly clunky mechanics involving platforms above you and rope swinging. It's a struggle to get used to them initially, but you'll have to adapt, bucko. One thing you may struggle with though is the difficulty. Three Ninjas Kick Back, a game aimed, remember, at the movie fan base of pre-teens, is ridiculously difficult on some stages. The caverns, for example, are only finishable via trial and error, as erratic spikes, vanishing platforms and barely visible fire plumes pop out of nowhere and either cut off or scorch off your character's nascent pubic hair before it's even had a chance to cover and spread his scrotum for the first time. Enemies also appear using all sorts of ninjiggery pokery and cause you no end of issues. Eventually I got bored with dying repeatedly and utilised the infinite lives cheat, but still struggle with progress at times, be it hammering away at this overweight nurse's breasts in an effort to fella, or the energy-sapping excesses of the Japanese forest and its endless procession of Nippon nasties. Your attacks are weak too, which doesn't help with the gameplay. The main goons take an utter pounding from your rather short-ranged weaponry. I mean, they are only teenagers, I suppose. And so while you're sure of longevity with Three Ninjas Kick Back, it's not going to be a fun time. Frustrating isn't the word. It's graphically alright, nothing overly flashy or creative, but as far as Western platformers go on the 16-bit consoles, it's fine. The tiny sprites are nicely drawn and smoothly animated, and the environments, while a little inconsistent in quality, deserve to have their picture in the dictionary next to the word adequate. Sound is less impressive, the music is poor, and the kids must have had a dissension in the old testicular region given their gruff, damaged yelps. The Sega CD version does have the film's score as part of its soundtrack though, and that sounds perfectly nice. Three Ninjas never kicked back with another title, which should come as no surprise at all. It's fine, but it's more difficult than passing a serrated bread knife. GamePro said in their March 1995 issue that fans of the film might like it, but others should avoid these new ninja kids on the block. They gave it a 5 out of 10. And you know what, that's about right, to be fair. It's as middle of the road as a Coldplay concert. Let's kick butt. Let's not. Okay, thanks, bye.